unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're here on my channel, my name is Vanessa and I, and I would like to welcome you into the fam. So today's pick a card reading is a really exciting one. It is all about September 17th, the new moon supermoon. So in today's pick a card reading, we're going to be figuring out exactly how this very rare celestial event is going to be affecting your life. Now, I haven't seen many videos on YouTube that discuss these new moon supermoons, so let me give you a quick introduction to what this means. So on September 17th, we have the first new moon supermoon of 3 new moon supermoons in a row. So the new moon supermoon on September 17th is going to be followed by 2 more new moon supermoons, one being on Friday, October 16th, and then the third one on Sunday, November 15th. So you probably already know that a new moon happens usually once a month when the moon is in conjunction with the sun and it's not visible from the earth. And what makes a super new moon different from a regular new moon is because a super new moon happens when there is a new moon around the closest point to Earth. This point is called perigee. So this is the closest that the moon comes to the Earth in its elliptic orbit. And there we have it, a quick definition on exactly what the new moon supermoon means. So the 4 groups that I have prepared for you in order to help you figure out exactly how the new moon supermoon is going to be affecting your life are as follows. We have a clear quartz point right here, we have a fluorite right here, we have a piece of pyrite, as well as an electroplated clear quartz. The timestamps to all 4 groups can be found down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. So all you need to do is click your timestamp and you will be fast forwarded to your reading. And of course, if you're new to my channel and you want to make sure that you stay on top of your predictions, make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as turn on your notification bell to never miss another reading relevant to your life. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be starting off with the clear quartz pendant, and to all of my other beautiful groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the clear quartz pendant. Let me do a quick close-up for you on the stone of your choice, on the gem of your choice. So let's just focus. Here we go. This is such a gorgeous gem that helps cleanse your energy, especially when worn. But let's move into your reading to figure out exactly how this new moon supermoon is going to be affecting you. So we have the waning crescent 1, we have the waxing crescent 5, as well as the waning crescent 4. So one thing that I see in this new moon supermoon and how it's going to affect you is by protecting you, okay? By giving you more of this sense of being protected and being in a safe space, which is maybe something that you've been craving or really wanting in order to be able to feel like you can now take time to chill, now take time to let your guard down. Because when you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, it's of course very difficult to get rest. It's very difficult to get time to just be able to lean back, relax, and enjoy, right? So one thing that I do see here in the waning crescent 1 is that this new moon supermoon is going to bring you this time to relax, and it feeds in really nicely with the waxing crescent 5 because nourishment is something that you can now focus on. So cleaning up your diet and taking the time to make more home-cooked meals, to maybe meal prep, and to just kind of detoxify in a sense of giving your body less toxins than you usually would. So of course, your body already naturally detoxifies. We don't need detoxifying products per se, but you can help your body spend less time stressed out, less time cleaning up the mess that you've been feeding it if, of course, you nourish it properly, which is one thing that I see happening in the waxing crescent 5. Then in the waning crescent 4, I do see here a deep sense of release and relief. So what type of release and relief you're feeling here, we have yet to find out what that really stems from, where that really stems from, but you're finally able to open up in a sense because we have this waning crescent 1 an aura of protection around you. So next up we have the 8 of cigarettes. So in the 8 of cigarettes, I see here that you're finally going to feel as though you can release your purest you, so you don't have to tiptoe around other people's feelings and emotions. I see that because you feel like you're in such a safe space and such an accepting space that you can finally just say exactly how it is that you feel, instead of just keeping your opinions to yourself out of fear of not wanting to rub somebody the wrong way. Then we have the 2 of knives. So I see that this is going to help immensely with decision making. The 2 of knives is all about the mental anguish that we sometimes experience when we have to make decisions and we really don't want to. It almost feels like your fingers are on this little knife blade or have like sharp points of knives on them, and it's there, it's pinching you, but it's not so much pain that you feel compelled to make the decision instantly, but it is just this nagging pain that is constantly there, kind of reminding you like, hey, have you decided? Have you made sure that you're putting decision making first? Have you put yourself in a space where you've already thought about what to do next, how to decide next? I definitely see here that decision making will come more easily for you. Next up we have the Devil. So in conjunction to the waning crescent 1 and you being so protected, I see things actually having this role reversal. So you now being able to toy with the Devil. Now the Devil could be whatever that is really usually tempting to you. So it could be a person, it could be, for instance, an ex that you're tempted to call or tempted to get back in contact with. It could be a toxic friend, a toxic family member. The Devil to you could also be junk food, but I want you to be very careful to not get too cocky or not get overly confident if this is a situation that is highly toxic and also in a sense dangerous for you. The Devil could be for you, for example, a specific substance, and not all substances are safe to have a lot of, so it's very important for you to make sure that you're not toying and playing too much with these things that can usually pull you and lure you in, and you make sure that you don't take your protection for granted and then end up being pulled into a toxic situation again that could have been avoided if you just weren't too confident or too cocky about how protected that you currently are, group number 1. Next up, we have the Queen of Knives. So in the Queen of Knives, I definitely see here that you know about this fine line, and this is not necessarily something that you need to be told, but I do see here in the Queen of Knives also that sometimes situations can just lure and lull you in, especially when somebody is explaining something to you and you feel like, okay, this makes sense. This is something that I can relate to. I can see here in the Queen of Knives that is sometimes a little bit of a dangerous point when things are very relatable. Next up, we have the Ace of Pills as well as Death. So one thing that I can see here in the Ace of Pills in correspondence to the Death card is the fact that there is something ending when it comes to your financial disposition. So it could be, for instance, losing your job or an opportunity just not properly working out when it comes to your work, when it comes to your financial status. But then in the Ace of Pills, the Ace is kind of like the initiator. It shows that we have a new beginning here in the earthly realms with how you spend your time and how you make your money. So know in Death that as soon as that one thing ends, there is another door that opens. There is another possibility that is here for you to take advantage of. So don't be afraid or feel as though things are just going downhill. Know in Death in correspondence to the Ace of Pills, those two cards showing up right after one another. This is an amazing sign for you moving forward with better and more fitting ventures to where you are in life right now, group number 1. Next up, we have the Sea Beacon Fairy. So one thing that I can see here in the Sea Beacon Fairy is this question of where will this guidance lead me? So you having certain signs and synchronicities showing up in your life. So these signs and synchronicities may be, for instance, the number 3 constantly occurring over and over again in your life, as the Sea Beacon Fairy does correspond to this number number, but also know that it can be a different type of sign. It could be a different synchronicity. For instance, you seeing a moon symbol more often than usual, or you just taking notice of it more often than usual. And you may ask yourself, okay, so I have these symbols, I have these signs, but what do they mean? What does this really mean for my life and my moving forward? So we're about to find out exactly what this means for you, group number one. So let's delve right into it. We have a pose. So I see here that this means for you that it's time for change. It's time for you to learn something new, to use technology and gadgets in a very wise way. So group number one, you're clearly being called when things kind of go south, okay, here in death, when it comes to your earthly realm, to find a solution that you solve, to find a solution to your problem, okay, in the technological realm by using technology wisely, by understanding that if you're able to watch this video, you are able to rebuild yourself financially. You are able to come back from difficult situations to create a life that is more productive than it is right now, just with all of the information, free information that is out there online. Just as this video that you're watching, this is free value, this is free insight for you. So use technology and gadgets with wisdom, and keep in mind here that you can learn basically anything online. Well, close to anything. I wouldn't recommend, of course, medical practices and so on, but you get what I mean, group number one. Next up, we have the three fates. So the three fates are trying to communicate what goes around comes around. So be very careful with what type of energy you put out there, but also who you allow access to yourself, group number one. So know that the three fates are, of course, there to protect you. That is most likely why we had in the waning crescent one this message of protection for you, but also do know here in the three fates that you can kind of avoid bad karma coming back to you by making sure that you treat people exactly how you want to be treated, and that you don't put yourself in a position where somebody treats you badly and in turn karma has to bite them in the butt, because it's inevitably going to happen. So if you know that somebody doesn't have necessarily bad intentions, this is often the case with family members, friends, and you know that they just have their flaws, their faults, but they can sometimes come out in a nasty way. Try and just steer clear of any types of situations where you may argue or quarrel, because they will be hit tenfold. So this is a way how in a space where you're very protected, you can protect somebody who you know can sometimes just have very much like ups and downs emotionally, and sometimes let that out on you and kind of go around the situation of them being punished unnecessarily by speaking to them and maybe more softly, being more careful to avoid confrontational situations with them, to show how much you care about their protection and show how much you care about them not being bit in the butt. But sometimes it's okay to let somebody be struck by karma, okay? Sometimes it's okay to let the three fates just do their job, especially if somebody does the same thing over and over again that they know they shouldn't be doing, or they get on your nerves over and over again and you've spoken to them about it multiple times. Sometimes, you know, a little bit of karma never hurt nobody, group number one. But let's move further into your reading. So next up we have the bison. So in the bison, one thing that I can see here is that your rituals are really important. Let me just pull this card forward for you so you can properly see it, group number one. So in the bison, pay close attention to your rituals and make decisions on how you can create rituals that are, how should I say, like more fitting for your current situation. So rituals as in your morning rituals. What do you do usually right after you get up? Is there any way you can make it a bit more enchanted, a bit more mystical, a bit more just magical? Ask yourself that and allow for yourself to create more of a magical rhythm in your life by, for instance, adding crystal tools to your morning routine. One thing that I like to use is my crystal facial set that I have in my online store just in the morning morning to revitalize not only my skin, but my soul, and make me feel like my morning routine just has this very magical, special step to it that is divine and that is unique to me. Next up, we have the dolphin. So the dolphin stands for happiness, but also not worrying. And I want you to know here in correspondence to the Queen of Knives that happiness is one thing that is a bit more easy for you if you just don't worry. Have you ever heard when people say that kind of like the saddest people are those who are the smartest and the happiest, or those who are quote unquote less intelligent? If you've ever heard that quote, then know that this is exactly what your guides, the universe, is trying to communicate to you, group number one. You're trying to kind of like think a little too much about things, which tears away from being in the moment and really being happy in the moment. So try to just not even think or dwell too much on situations. Try to not play dumb or be oblivious to dangers, but don't overthink them, because just thinking too much and trying to control situations and their outcomes down to the littlest detail, because you are on the intelligent side, as I can see here in the Queen of Knives, it can really take away from your enjoyment in life. It can really take away from you being able to live in the moment, which is why you're being called during this new moon, supermoon, to allow yourself to enjoy things without thinking about repercussions or what's coming next or what is going to happen as step after this really awesome one. Are things going to go downhill? Don't ask yourself all those questions, group number one. Just enjoy the ride. Next up, we have the Candy Cane Angel. So in the Candy Cane Angel, I see here that this new moon, supermoon, is a time for you to retreat. So don't spend time outside, don't spend time at anybody's house, especially if you feel a little bit weird about getting there. Just stay home in order to avoid any type of freak accidents, like a flat tire, like, you know, just something getting in the way, you being stopped for some reason and being really late and just feeling like something is wrong with this day. Knowing the Candy Cane Angel that on September 17th, the new moon, supermoon, it is really a night where you're being called, a day where you're being called to just do the bare minimum, you know, go to work, do the things that you need to, but no extracurricular activities, group number one. It's time for you to kind of like retreat and stay home, okay? It's time for you to treat yourself to some alone time, to some time just in your safe little bubble in order to avoid any type of fluke accidents, and also treat yourself by, for instance, you know, doing some online shopping. Just treat yourself to new knowledge, signing up for a course, anything that you've been thinking of. Next up, we have the Nautilus Princess. So in the Nautilus Princess, one thing that I can see here is a powerful personal growth happening during this new moon, supermoon. So group number one, powerful personal growth is always a great thing to receive, because with personal growth, you just learn so much, not only about yourself, but also about how you can create the life that you desire to live, a life that makes you feel proud. So while you may already be living a life that makes you feel proud, or you already feel like things are awesome, you know, we can always evolve and create scenarios that are more fitting for ourselves and our personalities. So know here in the Nautilus Princess that during this new moon, supermoon, you have not only a lot of growth happening, but by spending a little bit of time just treating yourself and retreating, you are going to be able to learn more than you expected. Then next up, we have the Angel of Time. So the Angel of Time is trying to communicate to you, group number one, that you're working too hard, you're trying too hard. And this really ties in really beautifully with the Queen of Knives and us talking about here that you need to stop overthinking, take a little bit of a mental break. So maybe get physically more active, allow yourself to engage in physical activities, work out if you know that you've been slacking in that department, but try try not to work too hard, try not to overthink during this new moon, supermoon. Just let things flow and let the information come to you, group number 1. So we are at the end of your reading, group number 1. This was a very intense and detailed long reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you made it all the way to the end, make sure that you leave a little dolphin emoji down below, as we did have the dolphin show up in your reading, and just as a token of good luck and that happiness we were speaking of. I hope you're staying safe, group number 1, and having a wonderful time, and I'll catch you in another video. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading about your new moon, supermoon. So you chose the Fluorite. The Fluorite is just such a gorgeous crystal. I absolutely love how this one specifically looks like and how multifaceted it is. It has some green, some white. It almost looks like frozen, something frozen, if you know what I mean, group number 2. But let's move into your reading on how this new moon, supermoon is going to be affecting your life. So we have the waxing gibbous 3, we have the waning gibbous 5, as well as the first quarter moon. So one thing that I can see here in the waxing gibbous 3, as well as the first quarter moon, is that you're going to be reassessing your boundaries, okay? You're going to be reassessing whether your boundaries are a little bit too tight-knit or a little too loose. So you're going to pay attention to how your relationships are affecting you, how much you allow people to have access to your core, to the deepest, truest nature of who you are, and then asking yourself, is my bubble maybe a little bit too small? Should I let people in a little more? Or you're going to feel like, oh, my bubble is way too big. I need to revoke access from some people entering my space, entering my bubble. And I can see here in the waning gibbous 5 that this is all happening and kind of boiling on or to the surface for you because you're over having to carry so much baggage. You're over feeling as though, you know, your resilience is often being tested by either feeling a little more lonely than you'd like to feel because maybe your boundaries are set up in a way how people can't really get to you, and you feel like you have to carry a lot of burden and a lot of difficult emotions by yourself. Or you may feel like, oh, I let people in way too much and therefore I am then the one who needs to deal with their problems, which makes you think like, maybe, just maybe, I need to pull in my boundaries and my restrictions a little more tightly. So let the waning gibbous 5 just really sink in for you during this new moon, supermoon, and just the thoughts of the fact that, you know, everybody's happiness is their own responsibility, not yours, which can be very hard to accept, especially when it's about family or friends and they're going through something. You of course want to be there for them. You of course want to help stem some of the hard times, some of the difficult emotions. But group number 2, sometimes you just need to put yourself first and protect yourself as well, which is where I really see in the first quarter moon this reassessment taking place, because you're realizing that maybe you've been carrying too many burdens, especially burdens that aren't even yours to carry. Next up, we have the Fairy of the Highlands. So in the Fairy of the Highlands, I see that you're coming to this realization like, oh, it's really time to be brave and to speak up about this. It's time to be brave and to just confront this head on. The fact that somebody else's happiness is not your responsibility and there's only so much you can do, and to also keep yourself in this headspace where you know that there are some people out there where no matter how much you sacrifice, they will never be satisfied or happy with it. And realizing that that's something you can't change, that's something only they can influence. Oh, okay, we have a card that clearly wants to speak, and being very brave and confronting the situation head on. Next up in the Tower, one thing that I can see here is that there may be this type of like outburst of emotion. So even after seeing this reading, you may already feel a certain way. You may feel like, okay, this reading has totally confirmed I'm carrying way too many burdens. I'm way too involved with other people's issues, when it's like I have my own. And I can see here in the Tower that you're going from a state of being more tranquil, of being more calm, to just things boiling and boiling up to the point that it's about to spill over, it's about to boil over. So I want you to know here in the Tower to be careful to not allow your emotions and words to come out in a very explosive and hurtful manner to other people, especially family members and those closest to you, especially those who will never let you live it down, okay? So especially as a Cancerian, I myself understand that letting things come to a point where you say things that you don't mean, there are certain signs that will not forget, just as me, just as Cancerians, just as Geminis sometimes also struggle to let go. Tauruses also struggle to let go. So it's important for you here in the Tower to be careful as to how you express yourself. Be brave before it's too late and you just speak from a place of anger. Next up, we have the Six of Bottles. So group number 2, the Six of Bottles, how I see that this new moon, supermoon is going to be affecting you is that you're going to feel as though your health and vitality is having a bit of like a renewal, okay? You're going to feel as though, I feel really good. I feel like I have a little like spring to my step, and just overall like your body and your emotions are connected in a very miraculously like flowy type of way. You feel as though exactly how you feel mentally is what translates into how you feel physically, and that your mind and your body is just one. It could also be because you're engaging in more physical activities that link your mind and your body, such as yoga, qigong, and so on, but maybe it's just also something that comes naturally, okay? Let's move a little further into your reading. We have the Beaver Moon next. So I see that creativity, creation, let's make sure that we are zoomed in here and the picture is clear. Okay, back to your reading, group number 2. In the Beaver Moon, one thing that I can see here is that creation is a really important aspect of this new moon, supermoon. I see that this new moon, supermoon is most likely going to come with some vivid dreams or just ideas that make you feel like, now is really the time for me to create. Now it's really the time for me to do all of those DIY projects and create those streams of income, create that business that I've been dying to get into. Then we have the Queen of the Moon, which is all about sovereignty. So one thing that I can see here is just overall this inner knowing that creation is what you're meant to lean into. Creation is one thing that can change your life, but also in a way allow you to step away from these negative emotions, from these emotions in the Tower that might boil over or might come to this breaking point with certain people. So just keeping your cool and making sure that nobody allows you to step out of character, step out of your nature of who you truly are. That is one thing that I see happening in the Beaver Moon when you lean into creating, when you lean into the flow of creation that is coming towards you during this new moon, supermoon. Next up, we have the Waning Crescent 3. So in the Waning Crescent 3, allow yourself to surrender to feelings as well as just any type of creative energy that is coming towards you. So by surrendering to feelings, surrendering to how you truly feel about these boundaries, even if it involves a family or close friends, and surrender to impulses that you get to creating, because those drawings, those paintings, those writings that you're going to be able to create during this new moon, supermoon, so get your journal out, just jot down some sketches, jot down how you feel, some lyrics. Know that you're going to look back at this in a few weeks or months and think to yourself, wow, this was really some creative stuff. This was really some deep stuff that I feel like I can reuse. So in the moment, it may seem like what you're creating isn't that important, is maybe trivial or just not even that great, quite frankly speaking. But then you look back at it a few weeks and months later and you think to yourself like, wow, this is really something different. This is something that I feel can be useful in the long run. Next up, we have the Egg Moon. So in the Egg Moon, you're being called to not only trust, as we had in the Fairy of the Highlands, but in the Egg Moon to also kind of like trust in the fact that you know what is best for you, okay? You know what is best for your bubble, for your personal space, and how much you need to maybe cinch that in or allow it to expand. So not reassessing your personal space and your boundaries because of somebody's snooty comment or somebody telling you, oh, you should be more like this or like that, but actually reassessing because you trust yourself and your intuition when it comes to this, and you're following your intuition, you're following what feels right for you. So this is not coming from peer pressure. The new moon supermoon on September 17th is definitely a new moon supermoon that is injecting you with confidence and courage in your intuition and feeling less attached to other people's motives and peer pressure that may have been created in your situation. Next up, we have the Tiger. So in the Tiger, group number 2, I do see here that you're going to have to really want to surrender. You're going to have to really want to look at things differently. So this may end up having you feel very tired during this new moon supermoon, because in the Tiger, I do see that it's just going to take a lot to be you during this time. And when it takes a lot to be you and you're expending a lot of energy mentally, maybe physically, you may need a bit more naps than usual. You may actually just want to nap right after this reading, and know that it's okay for you to do so, and to maybe like even do so secretly, okay? So of course, if you're at your job, I'm not saying go take a little nap under your desk or so, but to do so by just not even telling anybody, just retreating to your space, your room, turning off your phone and just napping, okay? Just recharging your energy that you've been using up. Next up, we have the Beaver. So in the Beaver, I can see here that your work is being affected during the new moon supermoon, and I do see that it may have to do with the fact that you just have less energy and less nerve to deal with issues at your work, to deal with issues that have to do with any type of work problem. And it is just natural, completely natural, to go through ups and downs in your career, and it's okay to be fed up with your work. It's okay to say to yourself, look, even though I love my work and I love what I do, I'm just having a down. And you may not like what you do, you may not be super in love with what you do for work, and that will just put you into a slump that is maybe a little deeper than it otherwise would be. But I do want you to know here in the Tiger as well as the Beaver that just taking time to recuperate, to get yourself emotionally back on your feet, to tell yourself like, okay, I'm gonna get it together and I'm going to be brave, I'm going to be mature about this, and remind myself that I'm not the only one going through this, and this situation is not forever. This too shall pass, as the quote goes. Next up, we have the Dress of Alchemy. So in the Dress of Alchemy, one thing that you're being called to do here in conjunction to the Beaver moon is to release your creativity, to release any type of energy that you have into creative ventures, as I do see in the Beaver over here that when it's related to work, you're tired. But when it's related to doing your own thing, I see there that you have a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of invention, a lot of, how do I say this? A lot of innovative ideas and energy there that needs to be invested in those projects, those side hustles, all of those dreams that you have for yourself. Then last but not least, we have the Eclipse Mermaid. So I see here in the Eclipse Mermaid that this new moon supermoon on September 17th is going to bring a powerful energy shift for you. Okay, a powerful shift that you will feel in your bones, in your body. That is why you're feeling tired, you're feeling just done with things, because you're bound to have this energy shift change things. You're bound to have this energy shift move you into a different space after this new moon supermoon. So it seems as though the first of the 3 new moon supermoons that we're going through right now is really one that is going to set the tone for the next 2 supermoons that are coming, right? Because we have 3 new moon supermoons happening in a row. That's what makes this time so very special. So know that the tone that is set after this occurrence, this celestial event, is going to be persistent and prevalent throughout the other new moon supermoons that are coming towards you in the next weeks and months. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful and also that it motivated you. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you, as well as leave a little, let's say a tiger emoji down below in the comment section to let me and others know that you made it all the way to the end. So group number 2, I hope you're staying safe and doing amazing, and I'll catch you in another video. Hello group number 3 and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Pyrite group number 3. Let's do a quick close-up on your stone. This stone is also known as the Fool's Gold because it looks like gold, but it's not. I absolutely love this stone. It is a stone that attracts wealth, abundance, but let's move into your reading to figure out exactly how this new moon supermoon is going to affect your life. So we have the hot moon, we have the waxing gibbous one, as well as the lunar god. So one thing that I can see in the hot moon in correspondence to the lunar god is that your masculine energy is on an all-time high, okay? I see that it's almost a little bit extreme how much masculine energy that you have, and you may ask yourself, Vanessa, what does this mean? What does it mean to have a lot of masculine energy? So you may notice this increase in masculine energy by you just having more of a drive to push forward, more of a drive to get things done, more of a drive to be discerning without caring about what others may think. I see here in the waxing gibbous one a little bit of this rebellious energy, a little bit of this energy that makes you think like, I don't really care what others may think. I'm gonna go for what I want. I'm gonna create what it is that I want to create, the life that I want to create, regardless of anybody else's opinion. Now, I want you to know that an overload in masculine energy could make you a little bit too cocky or confident and make you miss red flags, okay? So if somebody, for instance, says, oh, let's see where this goes, and you're looking into being in a steady relationship, red flag, okay? That is something that I don't want you to overlook and just think to yourself, well, I'll work it out regardless, or it'll work itself out. Try to still protect yourself while getting things done, because again, too much masculine energy can make you kind of feel like you can take on the world and do anything, which is great in a lot of settings, but also in some ways, too much of this energy can make you overlook dangers and can make you feel overly confident in a dangerous way. So feeling as though no matter what happens, you can still get yourself out of the difficult situation. You can maybe get out of the law coming after you if you're, for instance, speeding, driving a little too quickly. Whatever it is that you're doing, make sure that you still do it with a little bit of a clear mind. Make sure that you're still keeping a little bit of that feminine energy that can overthink, but can also often protect you from greater issues. Next up, we have the Queen of Knives. So in the Queen of Knives, I do see here that logic as well as discernment is a big part of this new moon, supermoon, and what you're going through. So being assertive as to who you spend time with, but also being very assertive when it comes to your work and what makes sense for you to pour your time and energy into. Next up, we have the Magician. In the Magician, I do see here that your ideas seem to be something that you're protecting for a later time. Now, group number 3, you may ask yourself, what do you mean by that, Vanessa? Let me explain. So for instance, you having a great business idea, a great idea for what you could do in order to increase revenue where you work, or just overall that next step maybe in your business. So keeping that to yourself, keeping that in a very secretive place, because you understand that if you put it out there, or if you tell somebody, they may copy you, and that may just knock a little bit of that wind out of your sails when you need 110% of all of the wind that you can get to push through difficult projects and situations. So continue to protect yourself and your intellectual property, group number 3. Next up, we have the Ace of Cigarettes that just popped right out of the pile of cards. So your intellectual property, your ideas and creations have not ended here, okay? There's still a lot coming for you after this new moon, supermoon, in ideas and just these types of like impulses on what to do next, on what little detail you may have not looked at that could help you in the long run. So again, keep a lot of things a secret, keep a lot of things a mystery, as it is going to prove itself to have been invaluable. You may have just been able to avoid somebody stealing your idea or your approach to then take the recognition for it when it was actually yours. Next up, we have the 10 of cigarettes. So in the 10 of cigarettes, take a break, group number 3, okay? I see that you may have been overworking. I see in conjunction to the hot moon that you may have been extremely overworked recently, or you may have just been burning the midnight oil a lot and then getting up really early and just not taking proper care of yourself when it comes to your mental health and your physical health. So take some time to relax. Know in the 10 of cigarettes that you're really just on your last straw and you wouldn't want to risk a burnout, right? Again, you wouldn't want to have prepared and prepped, put yourself out there, tried to create something for so long, put and invested so much energy in a project, just to at the most crucial moments, the moments of launching, the moments of taking that final action to make it public, to then be too tired to perform and to have to give the spotlight and the recognition to somebody else. So be very aware of that being a danger, and try to give yourself enough rest in between as often as possible. So maybe cancel some unnecessary appointments that you may have with friends, with family, and instead take time to sleep and recuperate. Next up, we have the Pink Lotus Fairy. So in the Pink Lotus Fairy, it's a time for you to meditate. It's a time for you to spend time dedicated to spirit and the universe, to the cosmos, to this greater source of energy than you and I. I want you to know here in the Lotus Fairy that you're being called to make time to just connect with your spirit guides, connect with this notion of something that you have within you, of something that's greater than you and I, of the universe. Well, of course, it completely and wholly depends on your worldview, and it's something that's very subjective. So know in the Pink Lotus Fairy that you may want to meditate, you may want to pray, you may want to create a goal board. We all have different ways of connecting with the greater consciousness. Next up, we have the Ghost of the Pumpkin Patch. So in the Ghost of the Pumpkin Patch, be very careful again of cocky or overly confident energy. I can see here in the Ghost of the Pumpkin Patch that it's important for you to be grateful with everything that works the way you would like it to. Be grateful about every situation that happens seamlessly. Don't take it for granted, as I can see here in the Ghost of the Pumpkin Patch, group number 3, that this new moon, supermoon, may inject you with courage, but if that courage becomes something that is too cocky, turns into kind of like almost expecting things to go your way, you're going to end up regretting it, which is why you tuned into this reading and why you're being called to listen to your intuition and not forget that feminine side that can just take a little bit of time to look around and assess the situation and remind themselves of gratitude, remind herself of gratitude. So in the Ghost of a Pumpkin Patch, make sure that you leave a little pumpkin emoji down below, group number 3, not only to let me know that you made it to this point of the reading, but also just, you know, already as a little token, as a little scribble that will remain on the internet forever, that says that you will not allow yourself to grow overly confident and you will remain grateful for all your blessings. Next up, we have the Butterfly, which is a beautiful extension to what we just spoke about, counting your blessings, making sure that you remain grateful so you don't end up wishing that you would have been grateful at a later point when things have fallen apart. Know in the Butterfly that your soul has a lot of valuable lessons that it can learn, and when things are going well for you, when things are pushing forward, moving forward, when you're still able to not have these types of judgments against or about other people, when you're able to remain more or less pretty neutral, give everybody a chance, that's when you know that you're on the right path. That's when you know that you're not turning into any type of form of yourself that is more arrogant than you would like it to be. Next up, we have the Chameleon. So in the Chameleon, I see a lot of inner change coming for you, especially in correspondence to the Pink Lotus Fairy. So this inner change comes through still stillness, through meditation, through spending time with your guides. And this change is most likely also why we have in the butterfly your soul being a part of this reading, that is basically just speaking of the part of you that would otherwise maybe judge a little quicker than you really should. And now you just have more of this outlook of, let's see how it goes. Let's give people a fair chance. I wouldn't want to be judged either. Next up, we have the snow leopard. So I see here in conjunction to the new moon supermoon and the snow leopard that being extra watchful is something that's coming for you, but make sure that you're not on the kind of like border of being a bit too paranoid, of being a bit too watchful of other people watching you. Okay, so if you go somewhere and you feel like people are watching you, people are looking at you, don't put too much thought into it. Group number 3, don't put too much of your energy into wondering what they're thinking or what's going through their mind, as I can see here in the snow leopard, that can easily turn into you being paranoid, okay? So try and avoid that, as that is going to zap more energy out of you than you would really want it to. And quite frankly speaking, I see that it is just not necessary. People during the new moon supermoon are, as usual, as us humans often are, more consumed with themselves, their appearance, and they're more wondering about what you're thinking about them while you're wondering about what they're thinking about you. You see how that works? So don't even put your energy into that. Next up, we have the hare. So in the hare, I do see here that this fresh cycle is going to come with fertility. This fresh cycle is going to come with the option of you seeing through fertility, okay, adding to your social circle, your family, be it through a child of your own, or for instance, adopting an animal, adopting a hare, for example, and just moving into this space where you may have maternal or paternal feelings and wanting to support another living being, which is beautiful and something that you should genuinely look into, but also be very real with yourself about how much time and energy you really have, as we did talk in the 10 of cigarettes, of you needing time to rest as well, of you needing to remove yourself from certain situations. Next up, we have autumn is my last chance. So one thing that I see here is that this new moon supermoon may come with a little bit of time pressure for you, group number 3. So feeling like autumn is your last chance to still make 2020 a great year, to still turn 2020 around, or to just accomplish that goal that you have set for yourself that maybe you thought you would have achieved by summer, but it's taken a bit longer. And I completely get you, group number 3, if this is something that you're going through. There are projects that I have set my mind to finishing as well in summer, but then with the whole situation in this world, it makes it very hard to be able to kind of, how should I say, put certain things first and push them through when you're literally just trying to survive, or just trying to make sure that you are staying afloat mentally, financially, romantically. So don't put yourself in this situation where you're saying, oh, this is my last chance. After that, I can't do it anymore. Or after that, time has run out. Group number 3, you don't know that autumn is your last chance. It is most likely not going to be your last chance. So allow yourself to know that after autumn, there still comes winter, okay? There still comes another year. There still comes more opportunities for you to still complete things that you set your mind to. Don't beat yourself up or pressure yourself because of that. Then last but not least, we have the dried flower fairy. And the dried flower fairy is connected to the number 11. In numerology, the number 11 is a master number. This is a number that has a little bit of energy of the numbers 1 through 9, okay? It kind of like holds the energies of all of those numbers, but on a more superior level, on a level that is a bit stronger than it would be usually. So I want you to know, in correspondence to this huge heap of masculine energy, that you are able to just make amazing memories and use this time during the new moon supermoon to test yourself, to bring yourself to your limits and create memories. Engage in making one-of-a-kind experiences, not pushing or putting all of your energy just into work or into pressuring yourself or into the next project, but instead creating memories, instead putting all of this kind of like go-getter energy into creating memories where you're not being too cocky about it. So you're not, for instance, trying to climb the Himalayas with no experience, or you're trying to put yourself in any type of other dangerous situation, knowing well that it's just coming from a place from where you're a bit overly confident, but instead using this confidence to create dates and times of where you're spending time with friends, with family, creating beautiful memories and capturing those, okay? Filming it, taking photos. How many photos and films do you have of beautiful memories that you've been able to experience with people? Because you never know for how long people are still going to be around or in your life. So it's very important that you cherish them when they are there, and that you take advantage of them being there and having the opportunity to capture memories, having the opportunity to savor experiences. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what you're most looking forward to during the new moon supermoon, and also what just hit home for you. So group number 3, I truly hope that you're taking care of yourself, that you're doing amazing. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll speak to you in another video. Hello group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Electroplated Quartz. I absolutely love this stone. It is so beautiful. Let's do a quick close-up for you. Such a gorgeous crystal. Nice choice group number 4. Let's move into your reading in order to figure out exactly what this new moon supermoon is going to bring for you. So we have the waxing crescent 4, we have the blue moon, as well as the wolf moon. So we have a really interesting combination here for you group number 4. First and foremost, in the waxing crescent 4, one thing that I can see here that this new moon supermoon is going to bring for you is an increase in just loving yourself, feeling self-love, feeling this emotion of, yeah, actually I'm not that bad. Actually, you know, maybe I am a potato, but like I'm a sweet potato. Like I am the cutest of potatoes. I just see here in the waxing crescent 4 a very natural increase of self-love and understanding that it's okay to look in the mirror and say to yourself, hey, I look good. Hey, I'm feeling good, I'm having an awesome day, and I am glowing. I see here in the wolf moon, in correspondence to the blue moon, that there are unexpected things happening and triggering you to try and reach for more, to try and go after a lot more than you usually would have the guts to go after. So know here in the blue moon, as you may have heard prior to this reading, I'm pretty sure you have, something happening once in a blue moon means something happening once every now and then, but it's not a frequent occurrence, which is what I want you to know here in the blue moon, in conjunction to you choosing the Electroplated Quartz, which is again a stone that you don't come by very often, especially in this color. And know that this just kind of stands for unexpected things happening to trigger emotions within you that make you think, hey, I can create this awesome business, this awesome life for myself, this life of being abundant, living financially free, and just overall knowing that I can go for big things. I don't need to stifle myself. And this feeds further into the waxing crescent 4, into that self-love that you have, and reminding yourself like, hey, if somebody else can do it, why not me? So group number 4, if you feel this strong connection to this electroplated quartz, I will leave the link down below in the description box, as this is a stone that I carry in my online crystal shop, and it's a little difficult to come by these in 2 colors, being in a way that it's kind of like this ombre effect. So I'll leave the link down below for you to check out if you feel like. But let's move further into your reading in order to figure out exactly how else this new moon supermoon is going to affect you and your life, group number 4. So next up we have the Lantern Fairy. So in the Lantern Fairy, the solution to your problems are becoming crystal clear during this new moon supermoon. So you're not going to feel as though you need to ask anybody about how to solve your problems. You're not going to feel as though you don't know what to do next or how to move forward next, how to kind of take the next steps in order to get to where you want to go. I can see here in the Lantern Fairy that a clear solution situation is going to present itself. So this may come in form of an unexpected epiphany, or just this unexpected injection of hunger that we have here in the wolf moon, and understanding that it's okay to reach for the stars. It's okay for you to want to accomplish more than maybe anybody around you has been able to accomplish, or anybody in your family or lineage, to be that person who believes in themselves and at least tries. I mean, if you shoot for the moon, you may still land somewhere on a beautiful star and a beautiful constellation that you didn't even know existed, but ended up working out beautifully for you. Next up, we have autumn is my last chance. So I do see here in autumn is my last chance that at times it may feel as though maybe this was a mistake, maybe reaching for the moon, longing for the star, for this constellation that you really fit into. So wanting to find that group of peers, of people who resonate with you, finally, finally having those friendships that are meaningful, or finally being able to accomplish what you want financially, to grow the wealth or abundance that you desire. You may sometimes feel like you've kind of bitten off a bit more than you can chew, than you can really digest. That is one thing that I see here in autumn is my last chance. So it's important for you to not lose hope, okay? To not allow yourself to feel as though, okay, maybe I made a mistake, maybe everybody was right and I thought too highly of myself. Group number 4, never allow those thoughts to seep in or creep into your conscience, okay? Because that will just stifle your problem-solving abilities. Especially, that is something that I especially can really relate to as an entrepreneur. Sometimes you feel like, oh my God, I'm on this path and now I can never go back. But the same goes for studying, right? Even when I was studying at an earlier point in my life, I felt as though, okay, like now I'm on this path, now I kind of cannot turn around, and oh my God, like I'm losing hope because I don't even know if I can complete this, if I can finish this. But it's important for you to not lose hope. It's important for you to keep in mind in autumn is my last chance that this new moon, supermoon, is not only going to give you more hunger as well as courage to get things done, but it is also going to come with more of these unexpected blessings and solutions like we had here in the Lantern Fairy. So just allow yourself enough time emotionally and mentally to let those solutions slowly drop in and creep in. So next up, we have the sea storm. So in the sea storm, I do see here that this new moon, supermoon, is going to allow you to be a bit more calm than you usually would be in difficult situations and situations that are challenging. So allow yourself to drop into that space by doing more breathing exercises, getting to know yourself better in very stressful situations and situations that you maybe otherwise would just panic in. So know here in the sea storm that having this storm in the sea and being able to still surf the waves, being able to still kind of go with it, is what really allows you to swim. Because when you're trying to go against the current, when you're trying to just shift mountains instead of find ways to go around them or conquer them, that's when you really run into trouble. Group number 4. Next up, we have the King of Knives. So in the King of Knives, one thing that I can see here is that this is somebody who could be moving into your life pretty soon after the new moon, supermoon, okay? Between now and the other 2 new moon, supermoons that are coming, since we do have 3 happening in a row, group number 4. So I want you to know here in the King of Knives that this is somebody who is connected to air signs. This person has a lot of air sign energy, which is discerning, which is smart, which is intelligent, but at times can also be a little bit judgmental or a little bit, how should I say, challenging to handle. If you're an air sign, okay, I'm totally not trying to call you out. All I'm trying to say is that with a lot of logic, with a lot that goes on for you mentally, there can come a lot of anguish and there can come a little bit of difficulty being able to actually express your deepest, truest feelings, and instead just kind of blurting things out. Next up, we have the Page of Bottles. So in the Page of Bottles, know that this is a very interesting time for you emotionally, especially if you are single with this King of Knives person moving into your life. Know here in the Page of Bottles that this is going to be a completely new experience and connection that you've never had prior to this situation. So this person is fascinating. They seem really like outer worldly, very wise, like nobody you've ever met before. However, if you are in a relationship, I do want you to know here in the Page of Bottles in correspondence to the King of Knives that when you feel like giving up, when you feel like like losing hope, or as though the solutions to your issues are never going to come, and you just feel like maybe you have bitten off a bit more than you can chew, know that hope often comes from the King of Knives situation, where you can get an awesome idea that fits your issue by just listening to somebody with this King of Knives energy, okay? Somebody with this air sign energy. This could be listening to somebody's podcast, reading somebody's book, listening to an interview with somebody who has this discerning energy that is logical, yet in a way takes risks, that it makes sense, okay? They take calculated risks, and learning from this type of person and this type of approach. So you may not use that exact solution that somebody else has used. The solution will come from within, it will come from you, but you may be able to get inspired by how somebody else was able to solve a difficult situation that is similar to yours. Next up, we have the Ace of Knives. So group number 4, in the Ace of Knives, one thing that I can see here is a little bit of a feeling that maybe you've stabbed yourself, okay? So maybe feeling as though, oh, why did I bring this up? Why did I try to do this? This is not going how I expected it to go. Feeling as though in the Wolf Moon, like the courage that you had to embark on a new journey maybe backfired on you. So I do want you to know here in the Ace of Knives that this happens to anybody who embarks on a fresh, new, and exciting journey. There will come moments where you think to yourself, oh my God, it would have been easier to just go down the path that I already knew. But then you have to remind yourself that if you do the things that you've always done, you'll receive the results that you've always received, which is, of course, not always what we want, right? Especially with these 3 new moon super moons in a row, we have this amazing energy that allows us to manifest great things into existence. So making use of this is very important, and not feeling like with every little challenge that comes like it was a mistake, okay? You can look at it as a mistake, group number 4, but you can also look at the situation as a situation that you can learn from, as a situation where, okay, if I conquer and overcome this, I'll be able to do so again whenever the next opposition, the next challenge awaits. Next up, we have the moon. So the moon ties in, of course, beautifully with the fact that we are talking about a celestial event that has to do with these 3 new moon supermoons. But I also do want you to know in the moon that you're being called to follow your intuition. The moon stands for your intuition. It connects beautifully with Cancerians as well as other water signs. I do want you to know here in the moon that it can help you avoid difficult and tricky situations when it comes to love as well as platonic relationships. The moon often shows up when you're being called to just follow your intuition when it comes to deception. So there are often a lot of ads and companies, right, that try to deceive you into joining whatever program that they're doing or whatever it is that they're claiming to offer, that you can feel like, hey, this deal is a little too good. Like, why does the product cost 50 cents but shipping is like $12? Like, how does that work? So that is, of course, just an example. Group number 4, you may also feel as though, why does this person all of a sudden want to be my friend or want to get closer to me now that they realize that maybe I have something to offer, that maybe I am going to be there for them? So allowing that inner knowledge, allowing your gut feeling to guide you and lead you in order to not get yourself in a situation that you will later feel like, oh, if only I had listened to my gut feeling, if only I had steered clear of trying this regardless of my gut feeling yelling and no at me. So look at those red flags, group number 4. Next up, we have the horse. So in the horse, there is this breakthrough coming for you where you feel like this is the first time in a long time that you felt so free. So this freedom may come from you just kind of leaning into the unexpected. So instead of, as we had here in the sea storm, fighting against the sea, now staying calm amidst the chaos. Ooh, let's focus and zoom back in on your reading. There we go. So allowing yourself to still stay calm, and this gives you this sense of freedom, right? When you're not freaking out in situations where you may usually freak out, as we have here in the horse, that can give you the sense of, hey, actually I am in control. And then that makes you feel really free and as though nothing can really stop you, nothing can get in your way. Next up, we have the red fox. So I see here in this new moon supermoon that you're going to have to be very strategic on moving forward. This new moon supermoon is going to reveal that there may have been a lot of things going on, for instance, in your workplace or in your personal life where you didn't even notice, but people people have been using different strategies to move forward, okay, to get ahead of the game. And now you didn't realize that because you're not a deceptive person, because you're not somebody who is going to be strategizing and playing games and doing things behind people's back just to get ahead of the game. But I do see here you coming to the realization that a lot of things in life is really a game of politics, and in order to be able to compete, sometimes you have to play along, sometimes you have to kind of have your own strategies in place. So I see you kind of playing people's games, okay, playing along, but knowing that like you have your own rules, your own strategy in place, and you're not going to be deceived in a sense that will then make you lose, that will then make you feel like, oh, if only I had not blindly trusted. So I do see here in the moon that not blindly trusting is going to be something that comes to your rescue, is going to be a mindset that is going to help you in many situations in these next months that we have these 3 new moon supermoons happening in a row. Next up we have I am Kali. So in I am Kali, I see here that no matter what happens, okay, this new moon supermoon is going to just let you rise from the ashes over and over and over again. So almost like a phoenix. So some people may feel as though, oh, if they just strategize strongly enough, they can get you out of the picture, okay? They can kind of move you away from being part of the competition, but they don't understand that you are resistant to anything, okay? You are a pesky little guy. You are going to rise back like a phoenix from the ashes, as mentioned, and from death, you understand, comes rebirth. You're somebody who is persistent, and you have learned to be able to go through basically anything and make a comeback. Your resilience is a lot higher, stronger, bigger, better, whatever you want to call it, than a lot of people had imagined. Now that may be because you have a really sweet appearance or a sweet nature, or you may seem very unintimidating to some people, or some people may underestimate you just as they meet you for whatever reason, but they don't understand in I am Kali that you don't play around, okay? And that is really going to come to show during this new moon, supermoon phase that we're going through. Next up we have Strangely Lonely. So last but not least, group number 4 in Strangely Lonely, one thing that I see here is that holding on way too tight can make you feel lonely, okay? Holding on to a relationship, to a situationship way too tightly, or trying to make sure that that person sticks around, it can make you strangely feel very lonely, because on one hand the person is there to hold on to, but then on the other hand it's like, why do I have to hold on so strongly, right? It makes you feel lonely because you're like, well, if I wasn't trying to hold on so strongly, would there even be a relationship? Would there even be anything to hold on to? Or would I just be alone? Like, why am I the only one holding on? Why am I the only one investing this time and energy to make sure that the relationship is able to strive or even exist? So that is where I see here in Strangely Lonely that you may have a little bit of this emotional situation where you feel like crying, or where you feel like you just don't know, but you would like to know, like, what would happen if I wasn't the one being the bigger person, or extending the olive branch so frequently and putting in that extra effort into the relationship. So there is a lot of reflection happening here when it comes to these types of situations and relationships, and it's important for you to know that with self-love, with reminding yourself like, hey, I will never stop being a good person just because of bad people. I'm not going to allow that to happen. To remind yourself that either way, what you have done is the right thing. That is going to just allow you to see things in so much more of a glass as half full type of way, rather than allowing that to slowly eat you up and make you feel like, oh my God, do I even have anybody in my life who really loves me and who would be here if it wasn't for me putting in the effort? So try not to fall down that spiral, and use this increase in self-love that we have coming for you during this new moon supermoon in order to heal any type of emotional wounds or difficulties, or just feelings of neediness that you may be going through, group number 4. So group number 4, we are at the end of your reading. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you, as well as leave a little skull emoji down below in the comment section to let me know that you made it all the way to the end of your reading, and that you are embracing this fearless and no BS I am Kali energy. So group number 4, make sure that you stay safe. Thank you so much for just joining and sharing this sacred space with me today, and I will catch you in another video.